Hey there. Today I'm going to talk about something very important to me and why I decided to start this channel. I know that so far I've done makeup reviews, and that's definitely something I enjoy doing, but I also want to focus on mental health. I really believe that we need to decrease the stigma of mental health. So here goes my story. I suffer from major depressive disorder, general anxiety disorder. Sometimes I get panic attacks. I have post-traumatic stress disorder, and I have really bad OCD. Now, I have suffered from these things my whole entire life. And let me tell you, it is no cakewalk. It is horrible. And for many years, I used to hide this as much as I could from friends and family who didn't understand. And it's made relationships really difficult, to be honest. So where do I start? I would say I first sought help with treatment as far as medication. I was 18 and I decided to ask my general practitioner if I could try an antidepressant. She prescribed Zoloft. Now, I read the directions and I did everything I was supposed to do. However, I ended up getting serotonin syndrome, which is very, very scary. What happened was I ended up shaking like crazy, and I ended up waking my mom up in the middle of the night because I was just terrified. My whole body was trembling, my chin was quivering, it felt like my toes were vibrating, my fingers were vibrating, my pupils were as large as my color part of my eye, so my eyes just looked black. I was very pale. I just remember feeling very, very sick, nauseated and just horrible. This feeling, I should have gone to the emergency room, but I didn't. My doctor later confirmed that it was, in fact, serotonin syndrome. If you ever experience that, please do go to the emergency room or get in to see your doctor. It can be quite serious. Now, that scared me off from taking any antidepressants for, 5 more years. It wasn't until 5 more years that I started to experience really bad panic attacks. Now, I had experienced anxiety my entire life, and I could just write a book about all my experiences with anxiety. It's so sad. And I also want to point out just a little disclaimer here. I know I look fine right now. I know I'm wearing makeup and I'm wearing jewelry. I'm actually wearing a PJ top because I stayed home today. A day in the life, it's not glamorous. I've been wanting to make this video since I first started making these videos. And to be honest, I just didn't feel up to doing it until now. So I think I started this channel January the 1st. It took me this long to feel up to putting on makeup and telling my story. And I have so much to tell. I'm not really sure how to divide it all up, but I think I'll stick with one topic at a time and just tell you about the depression side of it, and I'll probably make other videos about my experiences with different antidepressants. I also want to say that I'm on disability for depression because my depression is very severe. I've been off work now for 3.5 years, and I feel really sad about that, to be honest with you. I have a job that I absolutely love, and unfortunately, my job causes so much stress that I don't know when I will be able to go back, if at all. I am fortunate that I have a really good psychiatrist. It's really hard to get good psychiatrists. I've had the same one now for 18 years, and I feel so thankful for that. I saw, I think, 7 different psychiatrists before him, and I have to say, some of them were total nut bars. I'm not even joking. One of them actually got my ex-fiance at the time to laugh at me in an appointment, and they were both laughing at me, something to do with my OCD, and this is 100% not acceptable. So please know, if you have had the misfortune of seeing a psychiatrist that is horrible, you're not alone, and please just try and get a referral to a different one, because you don't want to experience that or have to live with that. It's trust me, it's after having a good one, I will never give him up. And if he ever moves from here, I will probably cry. I had another psychiatrist, I'll just tell you, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I think this actually affected her mind in a negative way. I mean, they're only human, right? And the thing is, I really think this affected her mind in a negative way, and I'll tell you why. I shared with her that in her waiting room, I could hear other patients talking. And she's like, well, were you listening? And I was like, well, no, I didn't want to listen. It's none of my business, but I'm telling you because I don't want people to hear my conversation with you when we're talking. And she was like, well, you know, if you book your appointment for the last appointment of the day, then you won't have to worry about it. And that's what I did. But I did suggest to her that maybe she move to one of the rooms in the back of her house. She was from a different city, and she came here for psychiatry twice a week, I believe. And she could have moved her practice to another room that was further away. And I also suggested that maybe she play music in the waiting room so that people can't hear other people's private business. Anyways, I came in one day and everything had been moved, like all her, like her couch, her tissues, typical psychiatric office attire, everything had been moved to a room like at the opposite side of the house. And I was like, I can't remember her name, it doesn't even matter, but I said, doctor, this is fantastic. I really like what you've done. It makes me feel so much more secure, you know, when I'm booking an appointment to talk with you. Now I feel like people won't hear me and I can have a private conversation with you. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm not even joking. And she was, I was like, you moved the room, like all the stuff, like you followed my advice. And she's like, no, I didn't. She's like, I didn't move anything. What are you talking about? And then I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, did my psychiatrist go cuckoo? Anyway, shortly after that, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I just chalked it up to she was under a lot of stress herself, and they are only human, so I just went with that. But my advice is, if you don't have a good psychiatrist, you want to get one. And I don't want to make this too long because I don't want it to be boring, but I was going to say, yeah, get another referral. And also, please don't feel alone. If you message me in the comments, if you want any support, I have so much experience dealing with this, and I'm no doctor, but I'm willing to give advice and suggestions or questions that you can bring up with your own doctor or pharmacist. And that's another thing. Pharmacists often know a lot of, well, medication is their specialty. So psychiatrists are specialists in their field. And I really believe that if you're dealing with a significant mental health disorder, you should see a psychiatrist, not a general practitioner. General practitioners are just that. They're just general, and they don't know a lot of information, especially about the different side effects, and especially if you want to come off the medication, which is a whole other ballgame. Anyways, that's my advice for now. I really hope this video helps somebody, because that is what I'm here to do. I really want to destigmatize depression, mental health, all of it, not just depression. And I really want to know that people are not alone. And even though someone looks just fine on the outside, does not mean that they are okay on the inside, not by a long shot. Thank you for listening.